Alright, so I'm making this video to share some advice and tips with new players. Um, there's not going to be a whole lot of like progressive gameplay here, but just kind of a general guide, I guess. Now, every type of build has its own items and stuff that you get later on, so I'm mostly going to focus on like basic mechanics. So we have a few different classes here. Just do this. I mean, the character creator is kind of self-explanatory. I'm not really going to bother with explaining that. Now, the important things about the screen are the character stats here in the corner. They tell you, like, kind of what stats you can expect to start out with. So, to kind of go through the stats and explain what each one is for, the top one is the level. This basically tells you how many stat points have been used for the character. So you get one every time you level up, and that doesn't change depending on your class or anything. It's pretty static. It's always one. Vigor is basically your health bar. So, the higher your vigor, the higher your health bar. So you can take an extra hit sometimes. It's just kind of like if you're planning to get hit a lot or want to be tankier, then vigor's the way to go. And then you have mind, which is your FP or MP. In the game, it's called FP, but it's basically MP in terms of like game mechanics. And as that goes up, the more that blue bar you'll have. And you need that for using certain summons you get in the game. You need that for spells, Ashes of War. Certain items actually use FP, so it depends how reliant you want to be on it. But I suggest like a class like this one. It's kind of lower on the mind stat, so if you're planning to use a lot of summons and stuff, I'd take a look at one of the other ones we'll go over here. Endurance is the green bar, and it's basically stamina and your equip load in one stat. So the more endurance you have, the more times you can attack, dodge, block in a row without like losing out stamina. So when you're fighting, it's always important to watch that green bar. And a few points in this go a long way. Obviously, as a progressor, if you want a heavier armor set, you definitely want to put more points in that. In terms of strength, okay, strength is one of the damage stats. So, strength has kind of a unique mechanic to it, where if a weapon requires like 30 strength to wield it, if you have like a little bit more than half of that stat, as long as you two-hand the weapon, you'll be able to use it. Whereas with the other stats, that's not the case. So, strength weapons are usually like big swords, clubs, big axes, that kind of stuff. They attack slower, they do more damage per hit, and they consume more stamina or endurance. So you want to kind of keep that in mind when you set up your build. So heavy weapons also weigh a significant amount, so your endurance is also important there. On to dexterity. Dexterity is a damage scaling type for a lot of different weapons. It also affects casting. So if you're using miracles or sorceries, dexterity can improve the speed of the cast. So usually it's not worth speccing into if you're doing a spellcaster, just because it doesn't the amount it gives you isn't necessarily worth all the investment that it needs. So it's like a new game plus kind of thing. Or if like get to like 150 and need more places to put stats. So then we'll go on to intelligence. Intelligence is the damage for sorcery. And that's pretty much like you have base requirements to get certain spells in the game, wield certain weapons, things like that. So on to faith. Faith is basically just like intelligence, except for miracles or what are they called in here? Like enchantments or something like that. Anyway, you'll know them when you see them. See, when you play the other Souls games, you kind of get used to the terminology because it's been consistent throughout the series. And then when you get into a new game that has the same mechanics but different names, you tend to use the old names a lot and not focus on the new ones. So, but anyway, it's the things you cast with the talisman are going to be generally, faith oriented. So the same thing with the dragon abilities as well. They require both intelligence and faith, and then some weapons require faith as well. So arcane is not a damage stat. It's similar to what luck used to be, but it's a necessary stat for certain weapons and spells. And like if you're using like a bleed build with a certain type of let's see, you have to have your weapon scaling to a certain type, and then arcane improves that further. I don't know, there's still a lot of mixed information on that in the community, but generally like the kind of consensus I found is that arcane affects bleed buildup, and I think it affects the other types of buildups too, because there's frost and sleep, and there's also sometimes there's poison. I don't know if that's the case though. In this game, I found like one weapon that does poison, so maybe it affects it, maybe it doesn't. But usually, it's not a stat that you'd really want to rush. Kind of like if you get it up to what you need to equip the weapon you want to use, and then kind of just leave it there until you have excess stat points from leveling up more. So the end of the game / new game plus is when you'd really want to make those decisions, and by then you'll kind of know what you're doing, know what Ashes of War you're using and all that, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. So in addition to what I described, each stat also affects your damage resistances. So like arcane, for example, increases your holy resistance, intelligence increases your magic resistance, and several others, like especially when they're under like 20, they boost almost all your resistances. So it's worth kind of getting like 20 in each stat once you have the points to do that. Otherwise, don't do it on your first playthrough. You'll set yourself in a bad place, or you'll have to be a lot more persistent to make it through the game. So now we're going to move on to Origin here, and this is just the different starting classes. Same thing as the previous screen. You can change them again here, though. So you can see here the stats change when you mouse over the character. So here we have level 8, 11 Vigor, 12 Mind, Endurance, Strength, Dex, Intelligence. So what this basically is it's a two-handed build. You'll also hear this referred to as power stancing. Which was a mechanic from Dark Souls 2. So, this character, I mean, his starting equipment, you get 2 scimitars, you get a shield, and then your, like, return home item. So, his stat layout isn't really anything special. Basically really focused on using Ashes of War, is what this looks like to me. So then we're going to go on to hero. Obviously, strength build. As you can see, we have the vigor, the endurance, and the strength. So you're basically going to be a little tankier starting off. Be able to hit a few more times and carry more, and so on. The bandit is an interesting class because they use a combination of ranged bows. They use fast attacking weapons, and usually a little bit of sorcery will be in there. So this might be worth experimenting. I wouldn't recommend it for first playthrough though, because it's kind of hard to you have to understand what you're doing to really take advantage of it. But I wouldn't also say not to do it. Do what you want. It's your playthrough. Okay, so this is the astrologer, who's basically a sorcerer. It's just by a different name. And as you can see here, we have 9 vigor, 15 mind. So bigger MP bar, more intelligence, and just a little bit of dexterity. So this will be what you want to go with if you're being a sorcerer. It's got 2 good spells to start with that are really combat oriented. You'll use them a lot, and you can carry them probably. I would go as far to say mid to late game. They're kind of helpful for taking out some things. You'll get much better stuff later on. So it is what it is. But if you're looking to do a sorcerer, this is the class you want. There's nothing that offers anything better for it starting off. So then we have the prophet. Now the prophet is a faith build. So you have a little bit of strength. You have 14 mind, so a big MP bar, 1 more point in vigor than sorcerer, and 16 faith. So this is it also comes with the talisman and stuff. So these classes, and I think this is the one I'm actually going to choose for the purpose of this video, but this class offers some cool mechanics that might be helpful to newer players, and it allows you to get really, really strong late game. So, any class has ability to be really strong, so, but this one's just a little easier in my opinion, without as many drawbacks. Samurai. Okay, so this is a really awesome starting class. A lot of people really like this one. It comes with the bow and the Uchikatana, which Uchikatana is a bleed weapon. So the more you strike an enemy, most enemies in this game aren't immune to bleed, so you'll attack a few times and you'll proc bleed. And what bleed does is it eats a percentage of the enemy's health bar. So usually I think it's about 1/5 of it. So it's a good way to kind of pick your damage up if you're new or just like the efficiency. Its bleed builds are really good. So you also have archery. So good way to kind of cheese a few bosses or take out some of the flying enemies. So that's really nice to have. There's not really a reason not to use this as your starting class if you have an interest in doing any of that stuff. We have 12 vigor, 11 mind, so you have enough to use your weapon art. 13 endurance, 12 strength, 15 dex. So you're going to be a little tankier. It just really puts you in a good spot. It really does. It's a good stat layout. Lots of play options, and this armor set is really good. So there's actually no harm in pretty much using it for most of the game. So then we have Prisoner. Prisoner has probably the best helmet starting off. However you want to mess with that. This one's kind of intended to be like a dex spell sword type of build. So you have a little bit higher than normal vigor, mind, endurance, strength, dexterity, intelligence. So it's about fast combat. this is, if you're looking to do like a hybrid sorcerer slashy type of character, this is a good choice. In my opinion, its biggest fallback is the Faith, because it only starts with 6. So there's a particular sword you can get later on that's really good. But you can actually get it from pretty much the start of the game if you're adventurous. But you need a very high amount of faith and intelligence to wield it. So that's something to consider if you want to play through the game at without using that sword. It's a challenging build to play through with. So kind of play at your own risk kind of thing. It's not the worst, but it's not really the best in my opinion. The Confessor. So the Confessor is like a hybrid. He's got 10 vigor, 13 mind, 12 strength, 12 dex, 14 faith. So this is going to be a good just general combat class. If you're not really sure what you want to do, and you kind of want to be tanky and you kind of want some spells, this is kind of like the Prisoner, in terms that you make it like a Spellblade type of build where you're not really relying just on your cast. You've got kind of a little bit of everything going on. I would say that the Faith setup is probably easier for newer players to do as a Spellblade than the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer requires more setup, and the Prisoner requires more setup, a lot more adventuring and stuff like that. This one's going to be pretty stable, give you a lot of cool utility. So this one, so I would say this one's not too bad. And then we have the Wretch, which is a level 1, 10 points in every stat. So if you kind of want to put points into everything, or just spec up a certain way without really losing out, this is a good choice for that. So they don't start with really a lot of equipment or anything. They just have a basic club. So they're going to be, however they're going to be, but they do start at level 1. So that can be useful. I'm not sure what they did with the stat totals here. Okay, but yeah, all the stat totals I believe are balanced to the levels. 14 arcane. Anyway. Yeah, so basically, it's kind of just like a really basic blank template. So I think, so what we're going to start off with is the Prophet here. So we're going to pretend I spent a bunch of work on the character appearance. Let's see. I kind of like that one. Alright, we'll go with, yeah. Actually, we will go, oh yeah, Keepsake. So, her Keepsake, most of this is just kind of useless crap. The Stone Sword keys, these are really useful depending on what kind of items you're going for early game. If you're looking for something specific, I would suggest going on YouTube or the wiki and finding the exact stats, or the exact locations for what you need, and to know if you need a Stone Sword key or not for them. Otherwise, you get plenty of these in the game, so it's really just kind of up to you. Then we have Golden Seed. Golden Seed's really good. It gives you an early reinforcement to your flasks, which either heal or give you more mana. So I like going with Golden Seed for most builds because, you know, it's just, I can get stone keys. The only time I'd make an exception if I was running to a certain area with certain weapons where I need stone sword keys. So I think we are set to get on to the game here. Yep, let's start the game. Oh. Yay, loading screen. So I'm just going to skip the cinematics here. I don't think you can watch them on your own playthrough. I mean, they're really cool. They're really nicely done and everything. I've just started a lot of playthroughs. So. All right. So if you see this box pop up here, it's because you pre-ordered. So you get that gesture. So, see here, character. I'm not going to go through the controls, but I'll paste them in the YouTube description for each console and platform that this is on. But you've got one-handed attacks, which are just quick, fast attacks. You'll be using those a lot. This is your miracle cast. So that heals you or attacks or whatever you have it set to. That's on that top bar here. And then the item for using miracles is put here. It's called the finger seal. So there's better ones later on, but you'll pretty much be using that for a while. Rickety shield, basically useless. You can just press or just unequip that. It's not real helpful. It just takes extra weight. Oh, actually, I'll retract that. On this particular setup, it's useful. So we'll do this. The reason why it's useful is because you can block and stab at the same time. So if you're being attacked, you can use that. So if you're going to focus a build like that, though, you really want to increase that stamina meter. So starting off with this class, we have a heal ability and a catch flame ability. Catch flame is the attack or damage ability. It's like a flame shotgun. So we're just going to run across here. Messages that tell you to jump. If you follow them, that's on you. Okay, here he comes. So, you see here, we're going to use this tactic. This guy's pretty strong. He's pretty hard to deal with, so... So rolling is your friend. Oh no, he beat us. If you manage to beat him, by the way, you get a pretty cool weapon and shield. You can get it later on through the use of a stone sword key, but the best chance of beating him starting off is pretty much the samurai class. So, see here, there's a item up there. And then, now, a lot of people say there's not a tutorial, okay? This is the tutorial. So, he tells you basically take the plunge. Even if you jump from the top, you won't be killed. So, It doesn't really matter. So you go through the cave, go over to this point of grace here. These are basically like a checkpoint. And they'll show up on your map here. Once you get more map pieces, this will get like filled in better. But you'll be able to travel to these points at any time. Pretty much any time, unless you're in a cave or a building. But if you rest at them, it restores all of your health and MP and everything. So, if you walk up behind an enemy, get right up behind them and you can just backstab them. You can kill them with your miracles. Or my personal favorite, you can use the shield to kind of rotate your movement behind them when they're attacking. So, and I suck at parrying, which is another skill. Not always necessary. I do it way too early. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, damn. Okay. Now. No. So, this takes some practice. Don't be upset if you can't do it right away. It's not necessary. You can beat everything without it. But it is very helpful if you get the hang of it. So you can just kind of hang around and practice on these guys if you're bored. Most of the time, especially once you level up, they won't be able to really hurt you at all. Okay, there we go. So, a parry allows you to do what's called the visceral or a critical attack, where you do a lot more damage and the enemy's kind of stunned momentarily. So you can also block and run. Useful when you have certain archers and stuff attacking you. So now we have a shielded enemy with the spear. So we can kind of have some fun here. We said about your movement around him with a shield. Allows you to get behind him. Now, this doesn't work on every enemy. But on some of them it does, like especially the trash mob types. You know, the trash mobs, they can still kill you very easily, so just keep that in mind. Hit him with another parry. This one will sneak around behind. Just kill him. So this one, we're going to switch to two-handing our weapon. And that's our weapon art, so, or Ash of War. So, as you can see, that's very powerful. So your attacks do more damage two-handed, they use more stamina, and they're slower. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now we're going to talk about the sneaking mechanic. You're in some bushes behind enemies. Certain ones they won't notice you if you just crouch down and kind of do this sort of thing. So we're just going to get behind him and give him a spear enema. It's pretty out there, eh? Okay. So we got another one of these guys. So, you notice how that green bar goes down? Well, it only goes down during combat, so. Alright, so now, when you see a gold wall like this usually means there's a boss ahead. All the old ones used to the old, like, Souls games used to always have a white mist. But in this game, they actually have you walk into the room sometimes before this. So, it's important to kind of always be ready to always hit the points of grace when you can. And all that fun stuff. Alright, so here's our boss here starting off. So we are going to switch over to our miracles. Roll away of his attacks. So as you can see, he's not very strong. He does deal a lot of damage, though. A lot of damage. So, kind of learn to watch his attacks and learn where his openings are. Oh no, he got us. Okay, so you see what I did there is I kind of tried to move away, create distance. Wrong kind of strategy for an aggressive boss. Because you won't get away and they'll just poke you down. You get back, try to heal, they'll hit you again, and you're done for. So, what you actually want to do is you want to try and figure out his attack pattern. See? Now he's going to do that attack again. So I can just poke him twice. Twice is too much. He recovers. So we're going to poke him once and back away. Poke him once, back away. Poke him once, back away. And beat him to the punch on his own attack. So, this game is entirely about analyzing your enemy's moveset. Because everything can kill you, right? It takes a long time to get strong enough before you're like overpowered and nothing can hurt you. You're just much better off taking the time to learn the mechanics. So we're gonna grab the item and remember this whole thing. So, all right. So now we're gonna head up here, and you can skip the tutorial, like if you don't need it or don't want it. You can just walk right up to these doors. It doesn't matter. So we're going to rest at the site of grace. This also restores your flasks if you use them. So like how we have Cerulean's FP and Crimson's health. Miracles like this use FP. You can see it took a chunk out of my bar there. And I can drink this to restore it. It doesn't really matter. If you pick the stone sword keys, you can actually unlock this room here. I don't recommend it if you're new, especially. It's a nightmare scenario, and you can always do it later. So, the items that we picked up here, the fingers, they're all different PvP type items, or co-op items. I don't bother with it much myself. But it's totally up to you if you do. So, nothing wrong with it either way. So we've got... creates a summon sign. So, like if someone needs help with a boss, you can put this down and then you can help them with that boss. This sends yourself or someone else home. And this is used to write messages. So, we'll just put... something random here. So if you put useful messages, people can appraise them, and then they get a random heal. So this guy, you're going to give him a free heal. So I don't really know if there's a limit to how much you can do this. But it's just kind of neat. And you will get troll messages all the time. So. Alright, so see that NPC over here? He's kind of standing there with the sword and all that. Now, what you don't want to do is kill him. It's very tempting. And it's very possible to kill him. He doesn't die very easily, but he'll die. You don't want to kill him because he kind of screws up some really useful quest lines later on. So, a lot of NPCs in Souls games, they have multiple dialogue sets that you... See, if you exhaust the dialogue, they repeat the same stuff over and over. So it's not really all that important. Now, when you first spawn in the world, you notice this guy. You don't need to fight him, nor should you fight him. He will destroy you. Okay, he is ridiculously strong, and I mean, you can cheese him, like, with a sorcerer if you get, like, up on a rock and he can't get up there or something, but it just doesn't even really give you an advantage to do so. So we're going to head over here first. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through basically on how to get your horse, level, fast travel, all the stuff you need to kind of navigate the world. Okay, smithing stones are used to upgrade your weapons. Somber smithing stones are for special weapons. Okay, and this guy sells stuff. You want to buy the crafting kit. That kind of comes in useful later on. Throwing weapons are kind of hit and miss. If you can, picking up a torch isn't a horrible idea. Just do that for now. Later on, you can get a lantern, which it just equips to your character without needing a slot. So that's much preferred, in my opinion. So if you break these little things open, you get items. Golden runes can either be sold for the same value, or they can be used. So, like this, we click use. So, we got 200 souls. So when you pick them up and it'll say like golden rune, like 2 or 3. That's not quantity, that's call it quality. You get a lot more for a 2 or a 3 than you do on 1. So when I first started playing this, when it came out, I thought I was collecting a whole bunch of this one type of item, and I was like, well, why do I only have 2 of them? Well, that's why. Merchants are okay to kill. In fact, I would actually kind of recommend it. Although they can be a tough fight, so if you're not real experienced with it, I wouldn't. It's just convenient for later on. So, and once you anger them, they stay angry. So there's a way to get that taken care of, but it's not till later on. And see, this is one of those guys you want to spam a bunch of hits on. And we'll just take care of him. Not too hard, he's good practice. And then their mount kind of runs off and does its own thing. No, we don't want to use that. Okay. Switch to this. Hey, come on, get back here. Okay, finally got him. Every so often the merchant's mount will drop items, but the bell bearings they drop are useful once we get to the round table. Pretty early part of the game. You can basically consolidate all of the merchants into one place. That's why you kill them. Or you can leave them be and just travel back here whenever's convenient. Yeah, don't hold souls, by the way. If you get a decent number, just use them to level up instead of like holding on to them, because that literally does not benefit you in any way. In fact, it puts you more at risk because you're more likely to lose them. So there's day and night cycles in here too, and sometimes different enemies spawn during them. So at nighttime, some really strong stuff can come out. But there's also a chance things to have glowing eyes, which give you a bunch more runes. So if you're trying to farm runes, that's when to do it. Because these are the guys that be giving me like 120 instead of 19. So even the weakest of enemies in here can like just destroy your health bar. So the animals give you thin beast bones, which are used for crafting arrows. And then the birds give you feather pinions. So there's a little dungeon over here. Fun little boss, but we're not going to fight that right now. But just wanted to show you guys where this is. So when you're in a cave like this or a dungeon, you cannot fast travel anywhere. Okay. So you'll notice the red line through stuff. If you press it again, we can. So on the PC, it's like you tap E to select it. And that allows you can do this right from the beginning of the game. So now what you want to do next is head north to this item here. So I'm going to look at our compass. North is here. So we're going to use this. Oh, before I get too far, I wanted to show you guys something. If you go to System, and then this sound and display thing, device for on-screen prompts. You can toggle this between gamepad and keyboard and mouse. So if you're having trouble figuring out the controls, like you're on PC, and it's showing you Xbox shit, you go, okay, no, I changed it to that, and then you can see all the controls for PC. I do suggest going in and customizing them, however, regardless. Which you can do here under key bindings. So you can basically customize anything you want. Maybe even set up some macros. So, okay, so here's where the sneak mechanic comes into play. Like, we're in these bushes now. A lot of times you don't even need the bushes. You can kind of just use the lack of sound. Because enemies are very sound prone in here. So you kind of noticed us. I'm going to just give him a poke. Okay, we got some gauntlets. So we're going to put these on. As you can see here, they put... they tell you like the weight, the damage negation and stuff. Poise is basically how likely you are to be knocked around. The higher it is, the less knocked around you're going to be, the less interrupted your attacks are going to be. Discovery is like enemy drop rate. There's items that increase this. Arcane is one of them. There's a stat that kind of affects it. Not really all that big of a deal. You can see here our equip load, 20.4 out of 45. Once this gets in like the last 15 points, 10, 15 points, it's going to be called heavy load. And that means you're going to roll very slowly. So if you take all your armor off, you get what's called a light load. And you can do fast rolling. which travels farther and makes you invincible for a longer amount of time. So, like, if we're gonna pick on this guy, we can roll a lot further away and keep our distance so we move a little faster. See? So it's easier to back up and roll. So if there's a boss that's moving really fast and you're having a hard time, and he can kill you really fast, don't be afraid to just take this approach. So, yes, we are being attacked by a boar. And they will kill you. Down you go. Good. Oh, if you hear that sound, it's around here somewhere. I think it's on top of this thing. Oh, here it is. Okay. You see these? They're dung beetles, basically. The red ones give you a refill on your flasks. And they disappear if you don't kill them fast enough, so that's the thing. The blue ones give you Arts of War, and the red ones give you refills on your flasks and stuff. So they're both kind of useful. And the red ones respawn too, so they're not like a hard to get kind of thing. Alright, so when you rest at this grace, it triggers a cutscene. And this is where you get your horse.
Have you heard of the finger made they serve? But you, I can put turning water aid you go to the foot.
We're just going to fast forward the dialogue here.
I bequeath. Use it, it will summon torrent. Treat him with.
Okay, so now we can level up. So we're going to do that.
Shall I turn your runes to let my hand share them with
Okay, so
your thoughts, your ambitions,
we already have
the
enough
you would follow.
things to level up once. What do we want to level up? So this could depend on the type of weapon we want to use. If we want to put more into faith. There's things called, oh yeah, so while we're on the topic, there's something called soft caps and hard caps, okay? Soft caps are generally where points in the stat give you like noticeably diminished returns. So like if I started playing this and I put like 99 points in a vigor, okay? It's only going to give me just maybe an eighth of a bar more than it would doing 10 points earlier on. So it's not important to reach super high numbers. The only thing you want to reach high numbers with is your primary damage stat. So if you're doing faith, obviously faith needs to get up to about 40 to actually 60 for intelligence and faith. Dex can be 40, but generally 60. Strength, you need 50 to 60. So that's probably what you want to aim for your first like character playthrough. All right, so now I think a good starting point here would be to put a point into strength. I'm going to do that. So you can see here it also increases your resistances. It tells you if we increase endurance, it does the same thing. Mind, same thing. Arcane, same thing but different ones. Raises your discovery. So I'm not really sure what to spec into right now, I guess. So You can either take a point and put it in faith or vigor. Generally, you want vigor to be half of your damage stat, so kind of already there. We're just going to do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is put to our pouch here. I'm going to put the Spectral Steed Whistle. And I'm going to equip the summon sign here too. So now we have a horse, and this allows us to get around much faster. You can also fight on horseback. I personally don't like it, but you can do like a charged attack and like drag your weapon, or you can like do a quick attack. Yeah, I personally find it kind of hard to fight on horseback, so crazy about it. We're going to use a sneak attack here. Give him a free spear anima. Come up here and grab this weapon. That one's the flail. So if we check what we need for the flail, it has a red X on it because we need 18 strength. So that means we're really not ideal for us to use this right now. But it is a good weapon. So if you start with a strength class or want to spec into strength, it's not a bad thing. Alright, so we have a soldier helm now. Put that on. Put on our things. Okay, so we're still in medium load range, which is good. Hey, look at us now. We're looking like actual pikemen. So the spear's a really good weapon, apparently. I was not expecting that. So, as you can see, our rolling's slower now, but we take a little bit less damage when we're hit. When you're dealing with this many enemies, it's like kind of bound to happen. Okay, I'm gonna back up. Remember I said don't get greedy with your attacks, because you can always get hurt worse, and they will. See, I healed, so now they become aggressive. Fire blast them again. My range was off. So, I'm going to show you now how to deal with these guys when you're stuck like this. Two-handing also hits for more stamina damage. Okay, we're going to use our weapon art here. And that did not break his thing, but it got us out safely. So, during these animations you have what's called iframes, where you don't take damage. So you can also block with your weapon two-hand. It's not ideal, but it can save you in a bad situation. Like this. Although, it didn't save us. It would have if I wasn't an idiot, but hey. That's the other thing. That's a huge thing about this game, is realizing that you screwed up. Not that the game's broken and it's unfair, and even though I totally understand, believe me, takes a while to wrap your mind around that. So, but anyway, since we're over here, there's an item that we kind of want to get. It's almost essential. It's kind of hiding over here a bit, so you can kind of run around and confuse the enemies, because they'll kind of start chasing you around, and doing random things. So here it is. Okay. As you can see here, they're all very, 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 very intent on killing us. So we're going to get down here, immediately heal. Now this is us talking about with iframes. He's going to try and kill us when we're opening the door. It's not going to work. Just roll ahead. Grab this. And now we can teach him a lesson. So now we want to get those runes back before we died. So on our compass on the top here, it'll give us a direction where they are. So ours are to the west. So we're going to make some distance here. Just kind of get away from those, get on our horse. It's not necessary to clear a room, by no means. If you can get ahead, get through it, do it. If you want to explore the area, come back and kind of methodically take everything out. There's a strategy sitting here that that you can kind of use. It's not like the kind of game where you go in and just beat everything up and you're good to go and they can't do anything. No, like you have to kind of use your brain and figure out the best way to use what you have to get through a situation or find something that you need. Speaking of, that purple glowy thing there usually means it's an important item or a good item. Here we have the map, so that gives us a little bit of a visual on the terrain. Do you see how he had glowy eyes? Now he's going to give us a lot more runes for killing him. So, certain enemies are tougher, even though they look similar. This guy is an example. He is very tough. Early on, especially. So, if you notice, he doesn't fall for a lot of the same kind of tricks. So, I'm going to show you that kind of walk around with the shield weapon thing. So, that doesn't seem to work too well on him. He has a lot of what's called poise, so we talked about that briefly earlier. You notice how I'd run into him and he wouldn't stagger or move? Well, that's what poise does. It can completely change the fight around. So, now we can look up here. We can see that our runes are this way. So this will become more relevant once you're in the open world too, like really running around. See, fighting on horse is stupid. It sucks. I'm not a fan. Some people love it though, so this is just my own feelings about it. So we're gonna just run right through here. You'll notice, like, this guy's gonna jump down here. And so we're just gonna not deal with that right now. We're gonna try and get ahead and get some other stuff that we'd prefer to have. So we just wanted to poke him because he was summoning. Like when those guys pull their horns, it alerts all the enemies to chase you. Usually very bad for you. So we're gonna grab a golden seed here as well. It's going to continue up this way. Just run past these. What's usually best if you want to fight enemies is to find a point of grace and then kind of venture out from there without, like, use all the runes you can to level up and stuff, and, like, don't carry anything that it matters if you die, basically. Because it's very sad to lose, like, 10,000 or so runes or however many you have to random stuff that happens to you. see, these guys love to lead you in the traps, as you can see. So never be too distracted by them. They always respawn once you rest at the point of grace. So this is a classic like Dark Souls situation. You got something big shooting at you over there. You got enemies coming at you. It's like it's all about just moving, getting through, finding your right position. And there's archers, and I hate archers. See, this game is like intentionally designed to screw you over. So just keep that in mind when you're playing it. It's literally the goal is to piss you off. So we're going to head over here. Okay, foot soldier gauntlets. We're going to see if these are any better. They're better against, they give us a magic defense, so we're going to put those on. We don't really have a talisman yet or anything. So we're going to sit down here and rest. Now, when you're first starting this game, you go to flasks and you can use golden seeds and crimson tears and all that stuff. Okay. Alright, so these items are not useful for anything else. So use them here, use them as soon as you get them. There is no benefit to you to not using them. And you can adjust the amount of FP and MP or MP and HP flasks you have. It doesn't matter. Just kind of whatever works best for you. Like if you're mostly using spells, obviously more FP. If you're like a tank, you kind of want to keep more health. So right now we're kind of in a stage where we don't have really any combat miracles. So we're pretty much like just sticking with the spear. So that's what we're going to do for now. I'm going to put another point in... Well... Yeah, I'm going to put a point in mine just because I like the even numbers. Okay. Well, it's an odd number, but, you know. Increment of 5. I like increments of 5 because they're usually meaningful. So, now, if we continue it this way... Right? We are going to need a new bottle. So we're not going to do that yet. We're going to go back to the Church of Ela. So and there's an important reason for this.
This way, tarnished.
Okay, if you don't do this early on, like I just did, she will not show up. So, make sure you do that.
A pleasure to meet thee, tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I depend upon looking into the talk thou art to call forth. I was entrusted by torrents.
Okay. So,
Tis a bell for calling summon them. The spirits will now it is thy.
so other than this being a super cool scene and character design and stuff, she's actually a puppet. You can go and set up we're going to switch this out. What's called the summon. Now the summons are additional help you can summon to like fight a boss. Like for help. So we're going to go back here to Castleward Tunnel. And I'm going to show you how to use those summons and how to use the other summons, because you will need them. Alright. So, I'm going to bring up Sorcerer Roger. And for him to show up. Now, we can't summon him yet. Once we can, it'll show up in the... Here. Okay. So this guy's one that everybody has trouble with. This one's, I call him Margaret. So, we're just going to skip his little intro. And we're going to quickly, like, summon our wolves. It doesn't let you do that before the cinematics. He hits like a truck. And I just rolled off the edge. So yeah, we all do stupid shit sometimes. It's fine. Totally fine. So, I've leveled up twice, by the way. So, taking on this fight might be a little much right now. We'll see. You can level up a lot more than this if you take certain paths and stuff and go differently. Like, this castle's not necessary at this point. So you can go ahead, take different paths, fight different enemies, get better items, all kinds of stuff before you have to deal with these guys. So just keep that in mind. If you're having a hard time with them, just move on to something else, get a better weapon, get better armor, whatever. So now we can summon our wolves when the fight starts. He starts off with those ranged daggers. Just roll around them, poke them, back off. So, important when you get hit, back off. There's no benefit to staying closer. See, I try to get greedy, big mistake. And he's going to punish me for it. Now when you hear that sound, if you're close enough, you can usually get in there and okay. When you catch him going through the air, spin around, poke him again. Now he's in the second phase. So that hurts. Yeah. So, hardest thing about dealing with this guy is that AoE. Okay? You see your health just gone. Right? Unfortunately, it's really hard to deal with. So, you can do it. And we're going to try to do it. Let's just see how this goes. So I think I'm going to take one more crack at him here. It may not even be relevant to do so. But at the beginning of the fight, he always throws his two knives. We're going to roll under him. So, against a boss like this, always heal the full when you can. There's no benefit in not doing that. Because he will kill you very quickly otherwise. So you can also heal your allies, which is a fun thing to do with this class. And you're going to run away. Nope. So remember I said about that sound? Now just get the hell away from them. If you can. We'll try them one more time. And see there, like... See if we can do anything. I mean, it's really hard to take them on this fast. Because your damage output's just not there. Your health isn't there. But you can do it. It is completely possible. The only thing that changes it is how much time you want to spend on the fight. So we're going to try a little different strategy this time. We're going to try... I'm going to hold off on summoning our wolves for a few minutes into the fight. And don't accidentally drink your FP flask instead of your mana one. Or your health one. Damn it, I'm distracted. No, I'm dead. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to count that as a try. I got distracted as we were playing. Or talking. Bleh. But anyway, so what we're going to try and do is summon the wolves a little bit later on and extend our damage potential. Once he starts those AoE attacks, though, he just wipes everything out. And later on, it's not even an issue. Like, they're harmless, but... So, if you can wait longer, so your summoned help kind of shows up. Okay, so now we're going to summon our wolves. That. So we got a critical on him. Now we back off. And heal up. And we can actually heal to our sorcerer buddy here. So if you're behind him when he does that, it's not a big deal. Now we're going to get away from him. Just get away from that. Oh, okay, that was dumb. Okay, so anyway, that happens. A couple tries on this guy, you'll get him. If I can do this like level 1, or I mean like 2 levels in, he's a really easy fight. So, as long as you have wolves and everything, and they give you a smithing stone, so you can even upgrade your weapon and do more damage, all kinds of stuff. I just didn't bother. But we are going to do a little fun thing here, and put down our summon sign. So I'll show you the way this works. So once you put down your summon sign, you just kind of hang out around the area. Nothing too special to do. Doesn't really matter what you're doing. If you get summoned, they'll pull you into it. Okay, so see here, we're being summoned to another world. So this means that somebody wants our help to deal with this guy. So, like I said, a lot of people have a hard time with him. He's not actually that bad. He's just... You just got to be able to do a little bit of damage and not be greedy. Get out of the way when he does his AoE, that kind of stuff. He should be a lot stronger than I currently am going after him. So... Alright. So now it lets us challenge the area boss. He is in here getting just wrecked. So we're going to come in and... So, as you can see here, super over-aggressive. Super over-aggressive. And that's what killed him. So this is going to be somebody who's very frustrated at the game right now. Tell by the way they're playing, they thought, get everybody in here, just come on and attack this guy, we'll beat him. He wasn't wearing armor. I mean, we could do the same thing. So, take out the armor. And we'll do... Leave a summon sign here. You can put this in your toolkit too, it's fine. But... stains of blood actually show you where other people have been dying frequently. And if you touch the blood stain, it'll show you kind of a replay of what happened to them. Useful if you see a bunch of blood spots in an area to kind of, like, be on the lookout, you know? So believe it or not, that was actually the first time I've lost to that guy. I usually do not. So, he's, I think it's just, like, literally the fact that we're, like, super behind and everything. We don't really have any... we have, like, nothing into our character, so... See if we get summoned one more time. If not, we'll just kind of move onwards. So there's... You know, there's not too much more I can really think to give out as advice. I'm going to show you how to upgrade your weapon, though, real quick. That'll be good. So, in order to upgrade your weapon, you either need to go to the round table, which you unlock in not too long. Or you need to go to this anvil or to a blacksmith. So... For all intents and purposes, early on, you're not going to have access to it right away. But this is where you kind of do that. Okay, it requires some runes here, so we're just going to... That's at 260, so we're going to get 60. Real quick, or around there. Kind of run out in the world and... Oh yeah, do not fight that tree sentinel guy. He is much stronger than Margaret. Get back here. I love how these guys just roll. Okay, so they're worth 5. So we just need to find a skeleton guy. So when your summon sign blinks like that, it just means that you're kind of getting out of range. When you get in range, it shows like a little tombstone-looking thing. There's a bird. These guys here, okay, so if you come across these guys running around, the other side or something, I mean, usually they will light up and tell you where there's a secret thing. There'll be like an arc that shoots out. Just follow the arc and you'll be all set. Right, there we go. Here's some Here's some cheap souls. Okay. Or runes. Our souls were basically runes in other games. So. Kill these guys off real quick. Can do that too. There, finally got him. Now, but yeah, an easier boss to fight than Margaret, by the way, is in here. Getting through this tunnel's a little tricky early on, but it's really not hard. You fight a particular like statue boss that's very simple to defeat. So might take you a couple tries still. He still hits hard. He's still an Elden Ring boss. So the term easy is, you know, kind of at a curve. But we'll go back to Vila. Okay, so now we're going to +1 our weapon. I'll show you how to do that. So we'll do just a little bit more damage. Here's an arrow. Ah, okay. So we only have one somber smithing stone, which it takes 2 to level this one up once. That only took 1. So but anyway, you do that, you click on it, you pay your rooms, and there you go. You should have a... everything's taken... 2 of them. Oh, because we're not using... I'm used to using those somber smithing stones. So somber smithing stones take less and they don't get as high of level. Normal smithing stones go up to like 25. So kind of take that for what you will. You can see here again we have that little icon there that's basically telling us we can summon whatever. So we're now on by the stranded graveyard. Hey, point of grace.
Forgive me. I've been to see whether.
Okay, so this is where we unlock the round table.
Very well. Let my hand.
And this is, you can access this at any time. So don't like be worried that you can't get back there or anything, because it's super easy to do. So we have, hey, look at this guy.
Oh, welcome to I teach incantations and explore so that one ensure another way. You do most.
You want to answer yes if you're using any sort of faith. So, and he offers some much better options for us. So, by the time I think it's like you get like 3 or 4 points of grace in the outside world, you can get access to this area. So, you have urgent heal, rejection. Flame sling's really good. It's a much better like battle miracle.
The golden order shines.
So I recommend that. The other ones are good too. Like, just kind of read what they do and stuff. Go around, talk to these guys. They're all kind of weird. This is where you deliver your bell bearings. And then you just go here and you can get access to their whole inventory. These two just have a default inventory. I mean, they've got some good stuff. Memory stones, which give you more spellcasting slots. Stone sword keys. Just different weapons. Finger seals. So this is what you need to cast miracles if you didn't start with this build. So that's very useful. These can be used to kind of trick people up when you're invading or joining them in co-op. So other than that, you're going to find should be behind one of these doors here. Well, if you jump down here, there's going to be an NPC that invades you. See all those blood spots? He's very, very, very strong, and it's very hard to get out of there unless you kill him. So you don't want to do that until you're ready. And I don't mean he's just a little bit strong. I mean, he will destroy you. So I'll show you. I'll end up this video with that. How about that? Okay, so here's the blacksmith. You know, same thing as the anvil, except he can bring stuff up further. Ashes of War. You can put ashes on your weapons. We found one so far. You get them from the blue scarabs. There's a couple hidden ones, like in ponds and whatnot, so whatever, take that for what it is. And this area, there's some stone sword key areas down here. If you really need a crossbow, this is where you get it. But there's not really... It's not super necessary. Don't hug her. She takes your HP and gives you something that's not helpful unless you're very tanky. So, you can just kind of ignore her existence. She might have a quest line though, I'm not sure, so do it, you. Hug the lady if you want. So I think we went over everything in here that's useful to us. So we're going to go back. Oh, that's right. So I think this basically concludes everything. Kind of just to teach you to get started and stuff. What each stat point does. And, you know, just, like, look on the wiki, even if you, like, know there's a weapon somewhere that you're looking for. Or, it's hard to progress through this game if you don't take the time to really explore and get different items and, like, learn that you either don't need to fight everything or that you need to be more aggressive, less aggressive, blah, blah, blah. It changes up constantly. But there's always tools to do what you need. So, like if you're having a hard time with Margaret, there's a merchant that will give you an item that chains him down. It's not really necessary. He's an easy fight. But it's kind of intended to put you in that mindset to really seek and try and find stuff out. So, but here we are. We're going to end it. If you have any questions, post them in the description below, or the comment section, not the description. I'll be putting the controls in the comment, or the description. Wow, got my shit all backwards. So, anyways, let me know what you think, and if this helped you out, let me know. Share advice with new players, that kind of thing. So here is Mad Tongue Albert. We're gonna stab him right away. It might look like I'm doing good, but I'm just failing. Yeah. So he inflicts frostbite and bleed. So you can beat him. It's just tricky. And he heals. He definitely heals. So anyway, like, share, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching.